Hello, everybody, and welcome to WarCrafters for May 18th, 2025. It's Season 2, Episode 20. I am Mayor Watt. I run ohmtown.com. That's that site right over there. And along with the sentient AI, who's not here today, we normally go over 5 articles, but mayoral duties have kept me from doing the show on time, so apologies for that. I am campaigning. Although, I don't know. Mayor of ohmtown is a lifetime appointment anyway. That said, we're going to talk about 5 articles, starting with Leeroy Jenkins turns 20. Altered Alma, a forgetting game. The Powerwash Simulator for firebugs, and 4 cool games that we can get into on the other side of our intro music. All right, so for probably the few times that I'll do this, maybe I don't know, maybe I'll do this more often, but I'm gonna kind of go through these really quick, quicker than normal. These are time machine episodes, and I'm doing 6 episodes, 7 episodes. I've done 5 today, so I got 2 more after this one, actually. So let's get into this. I love talking about games. I love doing this more late at night than I am right now. It's not early, but I would really like to do Late Night Geeks. That's a fun show talking about technology and gaming and science and whatever, really, but late at night, like between 11 and 3. I think I would like to do that, but we'll see. Summer of Stream is right around the corner for Mayor Watt, where I'll be able to spend, upwards of 8+ hours streaming a day. We'll see if I can actually make that manifest, but let's get into it. This is the front page of ohmtown. You can actually go back in time to 2020. There's a few articles left, but we're removing them slowly as we march forward. I've been using ohmtown for 10 years to manage my information overload. Hopefully you'll find some benefit too. The search is pretty cool nowadays. All you have to do is type in the search box. You don't even need to hit enter, and it'll refresh as you type. When you hit refresh, or when you hit enter, though, it's going to parse nearly 10 years of information that's been aggregated. So it takes time, but that's about it at this point. Anyway, let's get into this. The WarCrafters is one of our 6 weekly shows, and we've got a 7th show that's daily. On Saturday and Sunday, 3 shows become the composite for each of those days. So on Saturday is Reality Hacker Wanted and the Continuity Report, and on Sunday is WarCrafters Technology Today and 4-Wheel Tech. Anyway, that's what WarCrafters is all about, and that's how ohmtown works, and that's how Non Sequitur News works, and everything. So the very first article is about Happy 20-year anniversary, Leeroy Jenkins. 20 years ago, the name Leeroy Jenkins rang through the halls of Upper Blackrock Spire, and now it echoes through eternity. On May 11th, 2005, the famous Leeroy video was posted to Warcraft Movies, a website dedicated to World of Warcraft Machina. Or Machinima. Machinima? Machinima. It's Machinima. Anyway, because it's machinations, but it's Machinima. I don't know how people want to pronounce it. Anyway, get off my lawn, boomer. The video came out from a guild called Pals for Life. In it, the guild leader addressed the group in a semi-serious tone, asking, after coming up with a detailed plan, can you give me a number crunch real quick? In response, the apparent number crunching guy laid down the first meme of the video. I'm coming up with 32.33 repeating. The repeating part is... And then somebody just busts out, Leeroy busts out, Leeroy, time's up, and delivered a battle cry for ages. Leeroy Jenkins. Soon after charging in from AFK State, Leeroy Jenkins stepped on a bunch of dragon eggs that spawned hatchlings, killing everybody in the room, and then the dust settled, and Leeroy was berated. God damn it, Leeroy, one said, and another adding, you moron, taking things in stride. Leeroy responded with, at least I have a chicken. So it's gone down in history as a defining moment for viral videos, viral clips, while bringing some gaming culture into the mainstream. So Family Guy, trivia on Jeopardy, How I Met Your Mother impersonation, Howard Stern, Even U.S. House Rep Jared Huffman used the rallying call during a Speaker of the House vote. Pretty cool. So Jenkins, rewarding the Jenkins title for a World of Warcraft achievement in making Leeroy Jenkins NPC voiced by Ben Scholes, the real Leeroy Jenkins in the Warlords of Draenor expansion. So Kotaku confirmed in 2017 that the beloved clip was staged as a comedy skit by the Pals for Life Guild after much speculation about its authenticity. We didn't think anyone would believe it was real. We thought it was so obviously satire, but we were wrong. Yeah, I would say. The article is over at Polygon by Kyle Burke, by the way. We're still shouting his name 2 decades later, and yes, I have shouted that actually in a meeting. All right. Well, anyway, let's move on. The next article is over in Aerith, which is a storybook universe set in a far-flung into the future, post-apocalyptic, natural apocalypse, Earth, now named Aerith. But anyway, it's got a bunch of stuff, and I've been sitting on this IP for, I don't know, decades. I was in high school when I came up with the idea for it. Anyway, Altered Alma, the cyberpunk Metroidvania you're looking for. They had me at Cyberpunk Metroidvania when their eye was on Altered Alma for a while now, and after missing their chance to play it at PAX East 2024, weren't going to let that happen again. Yes, they know that there's a demo on Steam, but that's not the point. So, Altered Alma. It's an article over at rpgfan.com. Mike Salvato put the article together. Altered Alma is set in a fictional Neo-Barcelona, even featuring some sci-fi takes on landmarks from the real Barcelona, like the Sagrada Familia and the Arc de Triomphe, placing you in control of Jack, a former enforcer on the run, with the story of Anthony Johnston, Resident Evil, Village, Dead Space, and Emma Beebe, Tales of Iron. It might be no surprise that the narrative is an important aspect of the game, from Jack's backstory to the world itself. What did surprise them, the author here, in a game like this, is that there is a relationship system for Jack and the crewmates of the ship Esperanza. Even in their demo, they had a significant amount of dialogue choices when talking with one of the characters, which shaped how they replied and their feelings toward, aka Jack, me. So pretty cool. I like the graphics. They're rather 8-bit, 16-bit, kind of, low res, but still high res kind of thing, 8-bit graphics, pixel art kind of style. I love that kind of stuff. I actually had a product that I made that no longer exists, but yeah, well, I'm bringing it back actually. So they were already pleased with the effects and feel of the standard melee attack, but when Jack picks up the Quantum Blade, their little robotic buddy makes a show of it, and it was quickly apparent why. This flying boomerang-like dagger lets you attack from a distance, but the dagger's movement abilities are no doubt the standout function. The Quantum Blade can travel through some barriers, and by chucking it into a surface, wall, ceiling, floor, Jack teleports to that location. Suddenly, they view the world differently, as narrow openings and seemingly impassable areas become opportunities. And don't think Altered Alma wastes any time presenting you with corridors lined with spikes or bottomless pits to train you in sequentially teleporting you through danger. So this looks like a lot of fun, but it is a Metroidvania, I guess. I guess. So these side-scrolling games referred to Metroidvanias are always interesting, but the art on the cover of this is not Metroidvania at all. It's more JRPG style, but the inside artwork is Metroidvania, scrolling, that kind of thing. Looks like fun. Go and check it out. The next article is over at it was aggregated into WarCrafters, but it actually is from Kotaku. Hideo Kojima has an idea for a quote-unquote forgetting game, but everyone over the age of 30 is already living it. Tell me this sounds familiar, the author starts out. You dive into a big modern blockbuster on day one. Maybe it's an open world RPG like Assassin's Creed Shadows, or a loot heavy action adventure with lots of items and numbers to keep track of like Monster Hunter Wilds, and you're having a great time, but life gets in the way. Ethan Gatch over at Kotaku put the article together. I hope that's how they pronounce her last name. Weeks go by months. When you finally have some free time again, you download all of the updates you missed, boot up the game once more, and you realize you have no idea what you're doing or why. You've forgotten all of the controls, so why are you so far away from the objective marker? How the hell do you even kill things in this game? Eventually you give up and just scroll TikTok for an hour. Doom scroll. I actually just loaded up Enshrouded again. Huge update. Anyway, didn't get a chance to play it because I started streaming again. Anyway, I have no idea how, no data to back this up, but it certainly feels like this experience is becoming more and more prevalent, says the author, again, Ethan Gatch over at Kotaku.com. On the latest episode of his podcast via IGN, the game director mentions a forgetting game where players would have to play through quickly to avoid losing ground. The main character would forget information and abilities, and the longer you stay away from the game, and they might not know their role in the story or even how to fire a gun. Abandon the game for long enough, and the character wouldn't be able to move at all. Players would just have to take a week off from work or school to play it. As many have pointed out, this is just real life for lots of us now. Most modern games now essentially have a forgetting mode on by default, though some would attempt to remedy this by providing optional recaps on what players were recently doing or ongoing tutorials they can easily return to if they forget how to play it. So it seems like it might be a fun game, whatever it might be. I don't know of games that you basically forget. I love MMORPGs. I love RPGs in general, but like limited MMOs, like I like the ability to play Enshrouded with a small group of people, not a whole bunch. Dune is going to be interesting. I actually bought that recently, and now I'm waiting for it to start. It seems like it's going to be solo enough, but with enough interaction with people to make it somewhat livable. I don't know. We're going to find out. I hope I can have a private server and invite hometown residents to play whenever they want. But let's move on. The next article is over in Mobile. That's where it's aggregated from, but it's a Vice.com article. Rescue Ops Wildfire is an upcoming firefighting simulator with dynamic fire tech that looks genuinely terrifying. And to me, this is the Powerwash Simulator for firebugs. Only you can prevent forest fires is the saying. They know that it may be silly to quote Smokey the Bear of all people here, but it's the first thing that they thought of when they saw the reveal trailer for Rescue Ops Wildfire, an upcoming solo/multiplayer focused. Okay. I don't know how you can be solo/multiplayer focused. Usually you have one focus. Yeah. Right? Usually y'all have one focus. Focus! While the simulator may still be ways out from release, they're already intrigued. I put it on my wish list or my watch list. The article is over at Vice.com by Sean Sachaki. But that's what it is. It looks like Powerwash for firebugs. You're basically a firefighter and you're told to go and put out a fire. We'll drop into the middle of a blaze via helicopters, need to help and find and help civilians, all before battling the raging fire that continues to erupt. And according to the Steam description for Rescue Ops Wildfire, we'll be able to call in tactical support with water drops, attack and defense lines, and more. And it seems that Rescue Ops Wildfire is fully leaning into the simulation aspect, and that's what has the author really interested. For me, I think that it is like Powerwash Simulator, and it'll be as fun as you can imagine. Streaming is going to be, watching people play this while from their streams is going to be really entertaining because, well, it depends. I mean, people like me are pretty chill when I'm playing a game and I don't really freak out and stuff like that. I don't know. I guess we'll see. But other people, they ham it up and they're a different level of entertaining. And I treat streaming like other people treat football or some sport or whatever they're really deeply interested in. I like just watching people play games. It seems like it's a lot of fun. So between the ability to drive different firefighting vehicles, including trucks and helicopters, as well as co-op maybe, author says sign me up. And that's me. Sign me up. I am ready to play Rescue Ops Wildfire. And the last article for today's WarCrafters is over in WarCrafters itself. Kotaku's weekend guide, 4 cool games that they're vibing with as May evaporates before our eyes. We are more than halfway through May. May the 4th be with youth. Says this week is an odd one. We shook our heads at Bungie doing an absurdly obvious plagiarism thing with Marathon and were provided no assurances with Switch 2 will stay at its launch price. It'll go higher, don't worry. For instance, a laser that has been at a reduced price since the dawning of its existence is now suddenly $6,000 and there's no discount. So, and it's produced here in the United States is what they say. Proudly produced since 2025. And I'm sitting there going, okay, so if this is not the embodiment of things are going to get more expensive if they're produced in the United States, because we have we have a higher cost of living, we have a higher cost of regulation, monitoring, environmental controls, etc., pollution, etc. The only way to stop that would be to get rid of it. And the only way to get rid of it is to destroy the planet in the process. But that's not what you're here for. You're here for WarCrafters. So, right, let's look away. Don't look up. All while Sony is saying, hey, PS5 might have a price hike. Yes, it already has had its price hike. So this article is over at Kotaku.com. Claire Jackson, Carolyn Pettit, Ethan Gatch, and Kenneth Shepard put the article together, and it's 4 cool games. They list 3 of them right here. But we're going to start a slideshow, and we're going to look at just the slides. Not really going to bother with all the rest. Kotaku's weekend guide, 4 cool games we're vibing with as May evaporates before our eyes. Wizardom, Doom the Dark Ages, Dolok Town, and the 100 Line Last Defense Academy. None of these. Well, Doom the Dark Ages, which is really weird because there's like science, tech, spaceships, and whatever else in Doom the Dark Ages. It doesn't seem like Dark Ages, but everybody's a little different, right? So that's Wizardom. It looks like old school Doom style kind of thing. And then there's Doom the Dark Ages, and then there's Dolok Town. It says, what if you smash together 2D side-scrolling Minecraft-like Terraria with Zelda-infused top-down survival crafting sim Forager? You might get something that's post-apocalyptic cozy farming game Dolok Town. It hit early access. It did? Well, let's take a look real quick. Dolok. Yeah, it's $14 right now. It's marked as very positive. $14.99. You can go get it right now. So I won't really get into it other than it says it's a mix of resource accumulation, light combat, world building, exploration to keep them engaged, but keep the min-maxing voice in the back of their head relatively quiet. Pretty chill. Reminds them of Fez for some reason, they say. And presents a perfect little progression grind to vibe out to. And then they have the 100 Line Last Defense Academy. It looks JRPG-ish. They say that they've written about the 100 Line Last Defense Academy a couple of times for the weekend guide, but the deeper they get into Tokyo Games Tactics RPG visual novel, the more that they have to sing its praises, and they're not done with even one of the game's many routes. But just learning more about the scope of the game with each decision has them in awe. So pretty cool apparently. And that's that. Dun dun dun. Well, we'll start over, and that's it for today. Pretty cool. I thought this was a completely different game. I thought this was going to be Let's Go Fishing, and it's just a different era or something, but apparently not. Anyway, that's it for today's WarCrafters. I'm Merwat, and I'm getting out of here. Bye-bye.